Hello everyone, welcome. Today I thought I would talk about objects and storing objects and manipulating objects in a list. As I was grading the lab yesterday, there were a lot of problems understanding those things. So I thought I'd come up with a simple little example and we can walk through it and talk about what's going on when we're trying to manipulate a collection of other objects. So let me share my screen, and this is Eclipse, and I can make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to be manipulating a cookie class. We've used cookies before. And this cookie is going to be pretty simple. It'll just have two instance variables, a dough type and a weight. And we'll have just one constructor. The constructor will take the dough and the weight as parameters. And you'll notice I am doing a little bit of sanity checking on my parameter values. And I don't want dough being a null value. So if this parameter value comes in as null, I'm going to make the cookie unknown. And weight must be non-negative. 0 is okay, but it shouldn't be negative. We can do one thing to this cookie. We can byte it. And so here is my mutator byte method with a byte size, and I'm going to use this byte size to reduce the weight of my cookie. But again, I put in some sanity checks. Now, to take a very short tangent, this is why we're constructing classes the way we are. You'll notice that my instance variables are private. And in this course, that's where we're going to stay, is private. And since the instance variable is private, no client can come in and start messing with my weight. If somebody wants to change the weight of my cookie, they have to come through this public method byte in this particular case. And since this is a method, I have the opportunity to put sanity checking code and protection or a guard in my method to make sure that nobody changes my data, weight in this case, to values that I don't consider valid. So this is a protection mechanism, and for the most part, our methods in this course are going to be public. And our instance variables are always going to be private. And so this lets me control how my data is changed in this object. Beyond that, I have a couple of getters for dough and weight and a toString. So not much exciting here. Now, I do have a tester. I called it Cookie Shop. And here is a constant array of cookies that I'm just going to be using to test. There's nothing particularly special about them. And I have my main method. And this array list is going to be where I store my cookies. It's going to be a cookie collection. Now, the operative word in array list is list. It's not array. Don't confuse them. It's a list. So an array list is a flexible thing, and it can expand and contract and so forth. And I believe I've put out some videos talking about that. So the first thing I need to do is populate my array list. And I just wrote that one little loop there to loop through my array, and for each cookie in my array to add it to my cookie jar. Now, this is one way to write this loop. It could also have been written with a for loop and going with an integer index from 0 to the less than the length of the array and incrementing that. That's perfectly fine. Either way is great. Now, let's say I want to identify the cookies that are that have weights between 1.2 and 3.2. You'll notice that these are doubles. Weight in cookie is double. We'll go back and check that just to make sure, but weight is a double, and its byte size is a double, which is must be a similar type to weight, and get weight returns a double. And on the constructor, want to catch that, weight is also a double here. So I have these two doubles that are going to bound the cookies that I'm interested in. So let's talk about what's going on in globally here. I have a collection of cookies, and I have some cookies that I want to select out from the collection or to identify in the collection. And so how do I do that? Well, this collection of cookies, this array list of cookies, is not a cookie. It's an array list of cookies. Now I can go through the array list and get cookies out of it or get access to cookies in it, but it's not a cookie. So here I'm going to have to go through my cookie jar and get each cookie out of it. Now this for loop could have been written with the enhanced for loop style up here. That would have also worked, and it would have been for cookie C : jar. Either way works, doesn't matter. So now I have a cookie in my collection, but I want to compare it against numbers that are weights. And a cookie is not a number. A cookie is not a weight. It has a weight. Weight is represented as a number, but it's not a number. So what I have to do is for this cookie is pull out the weight. And this is how I do it. And the weight is a double. And so the weight here is a double. This is a double. These are doubles. They are all talking about the same thing, the weight of the cookie. And so I can have an if statement here to identify the cookies I'm interested in. It's the cookies whose weight is greater than or equal to the low bound and is less than or equal to the high bound. If this condition is true for this if statement, then cookie C is what I'm interested in. And in this particular case, I'm just printing it out. So let's run this and see what we get. And up here you see I printed my array list, the whole array list. And that's the whole array list right there. And here is where I'm printing out the cookie between 1.2 and 3.2 weight is that cookie right there. This passes my selection, my low and high limits for the cookie weights I'm looking for. And you'll notice that this cookie with weight 1 is not here. In fact, yes, the cookie with weight 1 is not here, and the cookie with weight 4 is not here. In fact, the cookie with weight 3.3 isn't here either. So I really have selected out the cookies from my list, from my cookie jar, that I was interested in. And to do that, I have to walk through my collection of cookies, get access to each individual cookie, determine what the value is I'm interested in comparing, because again, I can't compare a cookie to a double, or if I was looking for the dough type, I can't compare a cookie to a string. So I have to get the value inside that cookie that I am interested in comparing, and once I have that, I can write an if statement to identify, is this cookie an interesting one or not. So I hope this helps in understanding how we can manipulate objects inside a list and look for particular objects when I can't compare the entire object. I have to go get a specific piece of the object out and manipulate that individually to determine whether or not the object is something I'm interested in doing anything with as a whole. I hope that helps. Talk to you later. Bye.